Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a deeply chilling chapter of American history. We're looking at a hidden nuclear legacy that honestly still casts a massive shadow over us today. What if I told you that the United States once carried out secret nuclear experiments that exposed thousands of everyday people to dangerous radiation? I know, it sounds totally like science fiction, right? But this is a historical reality that affected real, actual lives. And the crazy part? For decades, many of these highly dangerous operations were kept completely hidden from the public. In fact, some folks firmly believe the absolute darkest truths of what really went down are still classified today. Let's rewind a bit to see how this all started. Right after World War II, the United States found itself locked in a dangerous, high-stakes nuclear arms race. The government was rushing to build more powerful atomic weapons, and they needed to do it faster than ever before. So they went deep inside the Nevada desert and created a massive facility known as the Nevada Test Site. Starting in the 1950s, literally hundreds of nuclear bombs were detonated right out there in the sand. To put that into perspective, some of these explosions were so unbelievably powerful that you could clearly see the flash and the mushroom clouds all the way from Las Vegas. And that's just over 60 miles away. Imagine just looking out your window from a populated city and seeing an atomic blast on the horizon. But here is the real kicker. Despite setting off hundreds of nuclear weapons so incredibly close to civilian populations, the public was not fully warned about the very real, very deadly dangers of radioactive fallout. Because as it turns out, this testing wasn't just about the bombs themselves. It was also about what they could do to us. We now know the government's secret experiments actually involved different groups of people who had absolutely no idea what they were participating in. We're talking about soldiers, vulnerable hospital patients, and totally unsuspecting civilians. During military exercises back then, soldiers were sometimes deliberately stationed right near these nuclear blast zones. Why? Because the government wanted to study how human beings would react in an actual nuclear war. As you might expect, many of those troops later came forward claiming they suffered serious, life-altering health problems because of it. And it honestly gets darker, because the experiments didn't stop there. Secret documents eventually surfaced revealing that radioactive materials were used in human experiments entirely without proper consent. Hospital patients and civilians were unknowingly exposed to radiation just so scientists could study its effects on the human body. For years and years, almost all of this information was just buried, kept totally hidden from the public. This massive cover-up had a catastrophic, lasting impact, especially for a group of people who simply lived in the wrong place at the wrong time. People living downwind from these test sites eventually became known as downwinders. Whenever those bombs went off, deadly radioactive dust was scooped up by wind currents and carried directly into their neighborhoods and towns. The fallout for these communities was absolutely devastating. Families started reporting steeply rising cancer rates and sudden, huge waves of unexplained illnesses. Entire communities slowly woke up to the horrifying reality that they had been chronically exposed to this toxic, radioactive dust. As you can imagine, public outrage grew immensely. People wanted answers. Investigations were finally launched, massive lawsuits were filed by the affected families, and eventually the government did officially admit that some of their nuclear testing had indeed harmed civilians. But even with those admissions, this story doesn't just cleanly end in the past. The shadows are still there. Even today, many files connected to America's nuclear history remain highly controversial and locked away. There's an ongoing, heated debate about transparency, and many researchers believe the darkest secrets of this era have never actually seen the light of day. Which leaves us with one seriously chilling question to chew on. What do you think the government is still hiding? We'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Make sure to subscribe to USA Mystery Map for more dark and mysterious stories from across America. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and always keep questioning what you know. I'll catch you next time.